Guardian Australia.
Writing in The Guardian last week.
Yesterday's Guardian Australia.
It took a news outlet, The Guardian, to alert the department to act responsibly.
When we launched Guardian Australia in 2013, we had to work out how to be part of the global Guardian ecosystem, but also have a distinctive Australian voice. One of the biggest stories in that first year was the Indonesian spying scandal. That was from the tranche of documents that were leaked by Edward Snowden, and it showed that the Australian government had been tapping the phone of the Indonesian President, Yudhoyono. It caused a massive diplomatic scandal and a really big rift.
The Nauru files was a cache of 2,100 incident reports from on that island, and it revealed a shocking situation.
Paul Farrell is the Sydney-based Guardian journalist the documents were leaked to.
These files are an uncompromising illustration of the more than 2 years of misery for those held on the island.
I think the most significant and long-lasting impact was that Australians realised what was happening, and Australian attitudes towards offshore processing, towards Nauru and to what was happening there changed enormously from that.
The Deaths Inside project started back in 2015 when my colleague Calla Walquist wanted to know exactly how many Aboriginal people had died in custody since the Royal Commission in 1991, and she found it impossible to get that number. We decided we should do that ourselves.
Well, I didn't believe genocide had taken place. I still don't.
The Killing Times is an interactive map that tracks all of the known frontier massacres in Australian history. What we were able to show was that there was this systemic eradication of Aboriginal people. These weren't isolated incidents. We're changing the way Australians understand their history.
I think we do investigations with a heart. We're the people who actually tell you what the politicians and business and all the power brokers don't want you to know.
In the middle of 2018, I received a phone call from a woman who wanted to report a doctor to me that had harmed someone she knew by performing unnecessary medical procedures on her. This story could easily have never been told because it involved a group of women living in a remote and regional area with very personal and distressing stories that they didn't necessarily feel brave enough initially to talk about publicly. And a lot of the calls and emails I received were from women saying, "I thought I was the only one."
The climate crisis is the defining issue of our time, and for me it's the defining issue of our reporting. It sits behind so much of the reporting we do, and it is at the heart of what our environment team does.
The journalism of Lisa Cox has been absolutely outstanding.
This is really working against this global effort to address the climate crisis.
The Guardian, one of my favourite publications, I might say.
The government is killing itself in plain view. No one wins out of this.
Right from the beginning, we tried to look at politics through the prism of what it meant for people, what the policies would do, rather than the kind of inside baseball political gamesmanship of it. I think that made us distinctive from the start.
We've done what we can afford to do in this budget, Jim Chalmers said, but for people stressed about housing, grocery costs, energy bills and just everything, balance seems further and further away.
How can Australians trust this last-minute conversion when you've reneged on it in less than a week?
A judge has slammed the federal government's Robo debt scheme as a shameful chapter, a massive failure and a huge waste of money.
So I think one of the reasons Robo debt wasn't stopped was a view that welfare recipients were an easy target.
Ultimately, the victims of the program were many who were vulnerable, of lower socioeconomic status, and people who often don't have a voice in the media. A lot of the reporting was only possible because of people who were willing to speak up.
Writing for The Guardian has been one of the greatest things I've ever done. I felt as if I was contributing to the world.
Do you know who I just got off the phone with? The Guardian, Emery. The Guardian.
It is time to find out which bird won Guardian Australia's 2021 Bird of the Year poll.
The Guardian Australia were the first to share our story, and now we are safe at home in below.
Some of the work I'm most proud of that we've done here at Guardian Australia has not necessarily been the biggest news stories, but the ones that have had the most profound impact on people's lives. We've campaigned and agitated for people who are unjustly detained to be freed, people released from immigration detention, offshore processing, children held in adult jails finally given their liberty.
We aren't answerable to any millionaire owners or powerful moguls. We're answerable to you, our readers, and we aim to earn your trust.